There are moments when your heart feels too heavy to carry, when no words can comfort, no person can understand, and no place feels like home. But even in that silence of pain, there is a whisper, a divine reminder that God's promises are never broken. Healing may not come in the way you expect, but it always comes in the way you need. Pain is not the absence of God's love. It is proof of His attention. When life becomes heavy and everything seems to fall apart, the heart often whispers, "Why me?" But in those moments, when your soul trembles and your strength fades, that is exactly where divine mercy meets you. The pain that makes you cry at night is not punishment. It's an invitation to return, to feel, to remember that you were never meant to rely on this world completely. Sometimes it takes a wound to remind you of the one who can truly heal. When Allah allows your heart to break, He is not turning away from you. He is turning you toward Him. Every ache has a reason, every tear has a purpose, and every loss carries a hidden message. The heart that has been shattered is often the one that becomes the most sincere in prayer. It is through the cracks of your sorrow that the light of faith can finally enter. What seems like the end of your story may simply be the beginning of a deeper connection with your Creator. In moments of heartbreak, it's easy to believe you've been abandoned. But the truth is, Allah is closest to you when you are most broken. Your pain is the bridge that leads you to His compassion. Sometimes, what you thought was punishment was protection in disguise. The doors that closed were saving you from what would have harmed you. And the emptiness you feel inside is the space He created for something better. For peace, for wisdom, for Him. Every sigh, every whisper, every quiet prayer uttered through tears is seen and heard. Nothing escapes His notice. The pain you feel has been written with care, with precision, with love. It's not random. It's refined. You are being molded into someone stronger, softer, and wiser. The process may hurt, but healing always begins with breaking. And through it, Allah reminds you that He never leaves the ones who call upon Him sincerely. So, when your heart aches and your soul feels weary, remember the wound is not a sign of His absence. It's a sign of His nearness. The same pain that humbles you is the same pain that raises you in His sight. He is not punishing you. He is purifying you. He is not ignoring you. He is calling you home. And one day, when the pain fades and peace returns, you will realize that every tear you shed was a step closer to the one who was healing you all along. Healing begins when you stop running and start surrendering. Many people spend their lives trying to escape pain, filling the emptiness with distractions, relationships, and temporary comforts. Yet the more they run, the heavier the heart becomes. Because healing does not come from avoiding pain. It comes from facing it with faith. The moment you stop fighting the waves and allow yourself to float in the ocean of trust, you begin to realize that surrendering is not weakness. It is the beginning of strength. There comes a point when the soul whispers, "I can't do this anymore." That whisper is not defeat, it's the turning point. It's the moment when the heart finally lets go of control and allows Allah to take over. Surrendering to Him doesn't mean you stop trying. It means you stop trying alone. It means you hand your pain back to the one who wrote it for you, believing that He knows what you cannot see. That surrender becomes your first step toward peace, the kind that no person and no circumstance can take away. Healing is not about fixing everything, it's about trusting the one who can. You can cry, you can question, you can break, and still be healing. Because healing is not always visible. Sometimes it happens quietly, in the unseen places of your soul. When you raise your hands in prayer, and your voice trembles with exhaustion, you are not weak. You are in the most powerful state a human can be in, humble before their creator. That is where real healing begins. When you surrender, the heart slowly learns to let go of what it cannot change. You start to find peace, not because your pain disappeared, but because your perspective did. You begin to see that every difficulty carries a hidden wisdom, every closed door a deeper protection. The same pain that once made you question your worth now becomes the reminder of how loved you truly are. That even in breaking, you were never left alone. Surrendering to Allah is not the end of your story. It's the rewriting of it. It's where fear turns into faith and grief turns into growth. Healing is not found at the end of your struggle, but within it. In the quiet moments when you choose trust over despair, and as you continue walking through life's storms with a heart that says, "Lay Allah, I leave it in your hands," you begin to understand that surrender was never about losing control. It was about finding peace in the one who already had it. Life was never meant to be free of struggle. Every soul is tested in a way that shapes it, refines it, and brings it closer to the truth. When hardship comes, it is easy to wonder why, to think that maybe you have been forgotten or punished. But the promise of God is not a life without trials. It is the assurance that within every trial lies a hidden ease. The same storm that shakes your heart is the one that cleanses it. Through pain, faith deepens. Through loss, the soul learns detachment. It is in these moments that the heart discovers what it truly depends on. Tears are not a sign of weakness, they are a form of worship. Every tear that falls for the sake of Allah, every sigh that escapes your chest in patience, is written as a moment of strength. You may not see it, but your endurance is being witnessed, your silence is being recorded, and your pain is being transformed into reward. There is beauty in every ache that brings you closer to Him. Sometimes the very thing you prayed would go away becomes the reason you experience His nearness like never before. Every test carries within it a hidden mercy. When Allah takes something away, it is not to leave you empty, but to fill you with something greater. Perhaps what was taken was never meant to stay, or perhaps it was standing between you and your growth. The temporary loss you feel now could be saving you from a much deeper pain later. Trust that His decisions are always rooted in mercy, even when they are wrapped in difficulty. What feels like a setback may actually be a setup for your spiritual rise. Strength does not come from having everything under control. It comes from trusting Allah when nothing makes sense. The believer learns to walk through the storm with a calm heart, knowing that the same hand that allowed the storm can also guide them safely through it. Each hardship builds spiritual muscles that ease could never teach. Every moment of struggle trains the heart to rely not on the world, but on the one who created it. And when the storm finally passes, you will see that what you once feared losing was never the source of your strength. Allah was. The pain you thought would destroy you actually shaped you into someone stronger, softer, and more grounded in faith. The promise of God was never that life would be easy, but that He would be with you through it all. And when He is with you, even in struggle, you are never without strength. People often spend their lives chasing comfort in things that can never truly satisfy the soul. They look for peace in relationships, achievements, or outcomes, hoping that something in this world will finally make the heart feel complete. But every time they hold on too tightly to something temporary, it slips away, leaving behind emptiness. The heart, by its very nature, was never created to find peace in creation. It was created to find peace only in the Creator. When what you depended on is taken away, it is not cruelty. It is mercy guiding you back to the one who never leaves. There are times when the heart becomes so tired of trying to hold everything together that it finally breaks. But that breaking is sacred. It is the moment when your soul realizes that comfort cannot be found in what was lost, but in who remains. When you cry in solitude, when no one sees your tears but Allah, that is not loneliness, that is divine intimacy. Those moments of stillness are when He wraps His mercy around you and reminds you that no heart turns to Him and is ever left empty-handed. Real comfort begins when you stop telling people about your pain and start telling Allah. The same Lord who allowed the storm has the power to calm it in an instant. Every dua whispered through trembling lips reaches Him. Every silent tear is counted. Even when you think your prayers go unanswered, He is responding in ways you cannot yet see. Sometimes, His comfort is not in removing the hardship, but in giving you the strength to endure it with grace. When the world feels too heavy, remember that peace does not come from understanding every reason behind your pain. It comes from trusting that there is a reason. Even if you cannot see it now, every heart that turns toward Allah finds refuge, no matter how deep the wound. The comfort He gives is unlike any other. It is quiet, deep, and lasting. It doesn't depend on circumstances. It depends on connection. The closer you move to Him, the lighter your burdens feel. And so, when comfort seems out of reach, return to the source of it. Fall in sujood and let your tears become your prayer. The heart that bends before Allah can stand before anything. What you thought you lost was only a reminder of what truly remains. His mercy, His nearness, His love. In that remembrance, you will find a peace that this world can neither give nor take away, a comfort that will carry you through every storm until the heart finally rests in Him. Healing is a journey, not something that happens overnight. It is a slow process, one that unfolds quietly within the heart. There are days when you feel lighter, hopeful, and at peace. And there are days when the pain comes rushing back like a wave you thought had already passed. But that doesn't mean you're moving backward. Healing does not move in straight lines. Sometimes it means learning to breathe again in the same places where you once cried, learning to trust again even when fear whispers that you shouldn't. You might still feel the ache while you are being healed, and that is okay. Healing does not mean forgetting or becoming numb. It means learning to live with what happened without letting it define you. Allah never promised that the wounds of life would disappear instantly. Instead, He promised to be near to the broken-hearted, to guide them gently through the pain. Every tear, every moment of quiet endurance becomes part of that sacred process of being remade, softer, stronger, and more sincere. Patience becomes your greatest companion on this path. It teaches you to embrace the slowness, to trust that even when you cannot see progress, Allah is working within you. Each small act of faith, each prayer, each moment of letting go is a step forward. Healing is not just about feeling better. It's about becoming better. It's about transforming pain into wisdom and using what once broke you to help others rise. There will be times when you question your strength, when you feel that healing is too far away. But remember, Allah does not rush your growth. He allows you to experience the journey so that your heart learns what peace really means. The ache you feel today will one day become the very proof of how far you've come. The same wounds that once brought you to your knees will become the reason you bow to Him in gratitude. Healing is not about erasing the past, it's about rising from it. It's learning to walk again, not perfectly, but faithfully. You may still stumble, but every step you take toward Allah brings you closer to wholeness. And as you move forward, you begin to see that the journey itself is the gift, because through it, you come to know the healer more deeply. And that closeness becomes the truest form of peace. Every promise of God unfolds in its own time. We live in a world that rushes everything: healing, success, love, and answers. But divine timing is different. Allah's promises are not delayed. They are delivered at the perfect moment. The waiting you experience is not an absence of His mercy, but a part of it. Each moment of silence, each unanswered prayer, is shaping you into the person capable of receiving what you asked for. What you see as a pause is often a preparation for something greater. Sometimes the hardest part of faith is patience. You keep praying, hoping, and trusting, but the wait stretches longer than you expected. The heart starts to question if the promise will ever come. Yet, in that waiting, Allah is building your endurance, refining your sincerity, and teaching your soul to rely on Him alone. What feels like a delay is often His way of protecting you from what you are not yet ready for. His wisdom always precedes His generosity, and His timing never misses its mark. There are lessons that only time can teach. When Allah withholds, it is never to deprive you, but to deepen your understanding of trust. Every unanswered prayer, every closed door, is a reminder that He knows what you do not. If you were to receive everything the moment you asked, you might never learn to depend on Him fully. The waiting softens your heart, humbles your soul, and draws you closer to the one who listens, even when you can't see the outcome. And then, when the right time arrives, everything falls into place so effortlessly that you will know it could only have been His doing. The pain begins to make sense. The waiting begins to feel worth it, and the unanswered prayers begin to reveal their hidden answers. You realize that His promise was never broken. It was simply unfolding in a way that would bless you beyond your imagination. The patience you practice becomes the very key that opens the door. One day you will look back and see that every delay had purpose, every detour led you closer to peace, and every waiting season grew something beautiful inside you. You will understand that God's promises were never late. They were perfectly timed for your growth and your good. And in that realization, your heart will whisper, Subhanallah, I understand now. What once felt like waiting was actually being led, gently, mercifully, to the place where your soul could finally rest in His plan. And when that realization settles into your heart, peace finally finds its home. You begin to see that every hardship, every unanswered prayer, and every tear was part of a divine design that was never against you, only for you. What once broke you was only shaping you. What once delayed you was only protecting you. Through it all, Allah was guiding you, holding you, and teaching you to trust Him more deeply than ever before. In the end, you realize that His promises were not just about healing your wounds. They were about healing your faith. And when the heart rests in that truth, it no longer fears the waiting, for it knows the one who promised never fails.